Day 3 in the life of David. Now, David has experienced some incredible things so far in his life. Day 1, we learned about how Samuel had showed up and anointed him to be the next king of Israel because his heart was a heart after God's own heart. And he trusted God and he obeyed God. And then God took him from there, brought him to the battlefield where he fought and destroyed the giant Goliath. And then lots of crazy things happened in David's life before this story. Basically, the guy who was currently king did not want David to be the new king. So years of struggle and chaos, and finally things come to a conclusion, and now David is king as he writes this story. So we'll jump right in today. Today's story is titled The Good Shepherd. And it's a beautiful image of God as our shepherd and us as the sheep in God's flock, pasture. Here we go. David was a shepherd, but God looked at him and he saw a king. Sure enough, when David grew up, that's just what he became. And David was a great king. He had a heart like God's heart, full of love. Now, that didn't mean he was perfect, because he did some terrible things. He even murdered a man. No, David made a big mess of his life. But God can always take even the biggest mess and make it work according to his plan. I need a new heart, Lord, David said, because mine is full of sin. Please make me clean on the inside. God heard David's prayer. He forgave David, and he made David a promise. I will make you great, David, and one day a king will be born into your family, and he will heal the whole world. That's right. Jesus Christ was a descendant of David. David was one of Jesus' great-great-great-grandfathers. Did you know that David was also a songwriter? In fact, his songs were so good, they might have been in the top 40 charts, if those had been invented back then. David's songs are like prayers, and they are called psalms. And this one is called Song of the Shepherd. It's probably number 1 on the Psalms charts, and it goes something like this. God is my shepherd, and I am his little lamb. He feeds me, he guides me, he looks after me. I have everything I need. Inside my heart is very quiet. Inside my heart is very quiet. As quiet as lying still in soft green grass in a meadow by a little stream. Even when I walk through the dark, scary, lonely places, I won't be afraid, because my shepherd knows where I am. He is here with me, he keeps me safe, he rescues me. And he makes me strong and brave. He is getting wonderful things ready for me, especially for me, everything I've dreamed of. He fills my heart so full of happiness, I can't hold it all inside. Wherever I go, I know God's never stopping, never giving up, unbreaking, always and forever love will go with me. God gave David that song to sing to his people so they could know that he loved them and would always look after them, like a shepherd loves his sheep. And one day, God was going to do something that would inspire thousands upon thousands of new songs. God was going to show his people once and for all just how much he loved them. Another shepherd was coming, a greater shepherd, and he would be called the Good Shepherd. And this shepherd was going to lead all of God's lambs back to the place where they had always belonged, close to God's heart. What a beautiful story. David's life sure was chaotic, and there's chapters upon chapters of his life that you can read about in the Bible. And one thing this story mentioned is that he was far from perfect. David is known as being one of the greatest kings of Israel because he loved God and God used him to do great mighty things, but he made some big mistakes multiple times in his life. And even though he had done terrible things, what happened? Did God just go, he's sinned too much, I'm done with him? No, God never does that. It's really amazing how much God can be forgiving. God listened to David's prayer when David said, please forgive me of the mistakes that I made. And God forgave him, and because David trusted God and obeyed God, he became one of the greatest kings in the history of all Israel. And he wrote that beautiful psalm. It's found in the Bible, Psalm 23. You guys can read it for yourself. It's worded a little different in the actual Bible. But it's a great reminder that God is our shepherd and we are his sheep, and he is always with us. See you guys next time.